Ihr Lieben, ich bin zurück aus den schönen österreichischen Bergen hier im wunderschönen Moseltal und damit auch bereit für einen nächsten Kaffee und freue mich sehr, heute ein bisschen mehr auch in die Basketball-Historie einsteigen zu können und auch die Entwicklung des deutschen Basketballs, denn ich freue mich heute sehr auf einen Kaffee mit
Don Beck.
Well, Don, first of all, thanks for your time. Let's start at the beginning. I think we all had a point or a time where we found our love for basketball. When did it start in your life?
My older brother played, which is why I got involved in it. Had a very good high school career and then moved on to a college level. Got injured and never achieved what I wanted to achieve in college. And I started coaching in my 20s and the rest is history. So
I think then you also met in the US college Dirk Brauermann, which has been a very important person in your life.
Absolutely. Yeah, I started coaching in Santa Barbara City College and then moved up to a certain level. From Santa Barbara City College, I was there for 3 years and then went to a Division II school in Boston called Bentley. Then went to Rutgers University and then ended up at Fresno State, which is where I met Dirk.
How huge is this relationship with Dirk? Because I think he also helped you starting in Germany or maybe also in Europe. I don't know how the first step to Belgium was set up.
The situation with Dirk was great. We obviously loved working together. We became very good friends. We actually lived together. His first year at Fresno and my first year at Fresno. When he came to Leverkusen, he wanted me to go with him and I declined at that time. And then 2 years later, Michael Rock contacted Dirk about coaching in Trier, and then that's where I ended up coming to Trier. I actually worked with Dirk when he was coaching the national team, I think in '94. When I flew over to meet him, I stopped in Trier for my interview with Michael, and Martin Hennon was also involved at that time. Went on to the national team, back to America, and then came back to Trier to start in '94.
And then history started also in Trier basketball, but you just mentioned you lived with Dirk Brauermann. Then I have to ask, who made the dishes? How was it to live with him?
I was a difficult landlord. There were certain rules that had to be followed, but we got along real well. It was a great time. It was a really great time for both of us.
Then the start in Trier. What do you first thought about this little city and also the circumstances? I think you had to do a lot of jobs that not have been typical for a basketball coach and maybe also have been a lot different to what you have seen in Belgium or even in the US college time.
Well, to be honest with you, the first year in Trier was ridiculously hard because it was maybe the worst team I'd ever been connected to. I think we were 3-34 or something like that, 3-35, something crazy. But the second year, so I took a lot of heat because I basically fired a lot of the players that were part of that team. Collectively with the work of Michael and Martin, myself, we were able to build a team from 3 wins to 17 and miss making the playoffs. So that was really special the first year, but actually when we added Bernard and Marc, and you know, we had, I think, 7 or 8 years of just unbelievable success for the budget that we had. So I'm very, very proud of those years. It was some of the best times in my life. A little crazy, a little different, but to be able to go to 4 Final Fours and win 2 cups with the budget we had and the group that we had was really, really special.
It's been a special group and it's also a special talented group. Huge different time of basketball and also a huge different time maybe of professionalism in German basketball. So where do you see the main differences starting this project, coming up in the first league from the 90s and now starting a new project, being back in the first league?
Well, to be honest with you, okay, back in the day, there were great players. Mm-hmm. You know, there were great players at all levels. The first league was extremely competitive at that time. I mean, Dirk Nowitzki was a 16-year-old, 17-year-old player for Würzburg. It was extremely talented. So, quite honestly, I don't think the talent level has changed. Mm-hmm. The German players were really starting to come on, and we were able to field really, really good teams. There were different Euro rules at that time, so when you could add Euro players and they played as Germans, it really made it very, very competitive. So I don't see a huge change talent-wise, but on the professional side, absolutely. You know, we had to go from playing on linoleum floors to wood floors to 3,000-seat arenas to 5,000-seat arenas. So all of that stuff, it's come miles compared to what it was, But back in the day, the competitiveness, the league structure, the challenges every game, they're basically the same as they are right now.
You started this 2-year project being back in Trier. Why have you decided this way, and how far do we see our club now? There are still steps to go, I think, but how do you see our standing right now looking back at those 2 years?
Well, to be honest with you, one of the main reasons I came back was my age and family. I'd been away, I'd been 13 years in Japan, where I was very lucky to work in some great situations and have great success. So meeting Achim and watching, that Achim had managed to keep Trier basketball financially viable, that was a big thing for me, because one of the reasons why I offered my services to Achim is because I respected the fact that he was able, year in, year out, to put a pretty good team on the floor and still maintain a certain level of budget. That was very, very important to me. And I've been very fortunate because my skill is finding ways to win regardless of the talent level. I've done that with very good players. I've done that with very average players. I thought that I could help him in some role put a winning team on the floor. So I had looked at some of the players that they had from their place 13 the year before I got there. That was a pretty talented team. And I was like, wait a second. So if we can put this kind of talent together in the right structure and the right organization, we can win. I was not surprised by the success. Collectively, Jacques brought a lot of experience to the table because of his knowledge of Pro A, and Andre, having done his job for so many years, was very, very helpful, and things fell in place. Adding Mike was tremendous. It's not too many times when you can add a player of his level that says to me, like he did, hey, I want to play. I want to play for Trier. I said, okay, we'll try to make it work. So I'm extremely proud of what we did the last 2 years. Not only were we extremely successful Pro A team, I thought over the last 2 years, we've been one of the most successful basketball teams in Germany. We're in top 5, top 6 as far as success, won and loss, and just player development. So there's so many areas I think we're really, really, really special. I think we'll continue with that level.
You just mentioned that in your coaching philosophy, you've been able to get players on the next level, or to be at least successful with different characters, building a team. What's necessary for a coach to do that? Because we all know for each and every player to play on that level could be a step in his career. He has to look on his personal performances, stats and stuff like that. Is that a mental thing that you're strong at, or how do you build those teams?
Well, I think there's a few things. One, I've always been transparent with my players, and I've always looked for good character people. I've been able to coach bad character people, but it's easier to coach good character people. My philosophy of basketball has always been defensive first, and everything else falls into place with that. The team we put together 2 years ago, from a quality standpoint, from a character standpoint, ranks in my top 5. Keeping the nucleus of the team together from my first year to Jacques' first year, I think that was really, really important, and I think that showed with the way we played last season. We had an extremely talented team last year. With the addition of Jordan, I think that was a big, big plus for us at that time. The way we've maintained the growth of Hollisbacher, the growth of Evans, even B. Vietnam he was a killer. I mean, he was just probably, it's one of the best seasons I've seen one player have. And I was very, very happy for him receiving the credit that he received. And I just think carrying that over, the spirit that we had from year 1 to year 2, I think that was really beneficial.
You just mentioned Binam Yangchali as one of the outstanding type of leader that he is on the court and also, I guess, off the court. If I remember that right, also there, the first connection that we talked about with Dirk Bauerman, because he's been a national coach of Iran, also played a big role in getting him to Trier, right?
Absolutely. I had seen B play 4 or 5 times because Iran played Japan over the last 2 years when I was in Japan. So as a national team player, he was outstanding. So when I got the job here, we talked to Dirk, and Dirk said, hey, he wants to come back to Germany, and then we did a phone interview, and it was like immediately I knew where he was coming from, he knew where I was coming from, and with the help of his agent, we were able to get that done like right away. So he was one of the first players that we signed, and I think that was a key get for us. But the other guys that we were able to add also, like Clay, okay? Clay came from my relationship to Jeff Gibbs. All right, so Jeff played for me for 5 years at Toyota. Players know players. So when we were looking for another foreigner, I said, hey, who are you playing with? And they were playing in the TBT together. And he said, you should check this kid out. He played in Luxembourg. And both Jacques and I did our research, and, Clay became an integral part of our team. And also one of the best players to improve from year one to year two. I thought at the end of the year, Clay had made great strides on both sides, both offensively and defensively. So we were really pleased with that. But the combination of Jacques' evaluation, my evaluation, and then the recommendations from people that we trusted, I think helped create the team that we have.
That's why I really like this format. You just name Jeff Gibbs, who's a very special player, who's had a very special career. I think he now ended his career just this summer with 45 years. Already played in the first league in Japan with getting good numbers. So just tell me about how huge this network is in the basketball cosmos, because there are so many players, so many agents, and to have people to trust on.
Well, again, I'm a little bit older than most people, and because I've coached in 5 different countries, both Europe and Asia, I know Asia very, very well. It's given me an opportunity to really touch base across the board. There's 5 or 6 guys I know in the NBA that are coaching or player-oriented, and they're really, really good contacts. I'll give you an example. Chris Fleming, is now working at the University of Alabama. So while I was in America, I had contact with him. We're going to try to set up a line where I will probably go see an Alabama game early this year to try to get to a guy I trust and like that can help us recruit maybe at the college level, that level of player, and not wait for the summer and see him in an all-star game, So I have a very eclectic network of coaches, managers, player development guys, and agents, and I think there's guys I really like and really trust, and I'm going to utilize those guys.
You have seen a lot of different cultures also in your basketball life, coming from the US to Belgium, then Germany, and also a great time in Oldenburg together with Ralph, and then going to Japan, which is, in my opinion, I've never lived there, but I've read and all what I've seen, a very special culture of respect and also of mental things. So how did that change your own mind, or how huge was that for your personal life?
Well, it was enormously impactful because Japan is the Louis Vuitton of Asia. The culture is great, the food is great, the respect factor was unlike anything I'd ever seen. I was extremely comfortable there. I was very fortunate. I coached 5 years with Toyota men, 3 years with Toyota women, and then 4 or 5 years with various other first and second league teams. So it was a tremendous experience for me, and one that when I came back to Germany, a lot of the stuff I learned coaching in Japan, I was able to come back and impact the team I coached last year before. So respect, character, that collective effort, those things were very, very important to me. And I think it showed in the year I coached in it. I think Jacques does the same kind of work as I do.
Well, then I have to ask also maybe a private question, because you found your love too there. So was it kind of discussion when you just informed your wife to come now to Germany and to leave this beautiful place and stuff like that?
Well, Naho is a world traveler as well. She's very adventurous, and it wasn't really a big move for her. She still works in Japan. She's worked for 11 years with the Japanese deaf volleyball national team. And the Deaf Olympics take place in Tokyo in November of this coming year. So it was important that she was able to keep that connection. So we made that arrangement that she goes back a number of times all last year and will be missed from October and November of this year to finish out that Tokyo Olympics in November, and then she'll be done. But it was easy to get her to come here. She's been to more places than I've been. So as an athletic trainer, she's been to India, Argentina, Brazil, and all over Europe. So it was not a big deal.
And that's also why she's a big impact for our team with her experience in that sector.
I think the players would be very, very positive about her work. She's really, really quite good.
Well, let's talk about those half-final series with Frankfurt. It's always some little points that can decide between the biggest success or the other side. So being that close, how tough was it? And also to step in the second row, not being the head coach then for the second year.
Not as difficult as you're making it sound.
Okay.
So let's go back to the beginning. When I came to an agreement with Akam, I did not say, Akam, in 2 years we'll be back in the first league. I said, I think I can help bring this team back to that level, but we didn't put a timeline on it. So picture this. You were a little critical of the year before. So imagine if someone would have told you, Chris, next year Don Beck's going to coach we're going to win 29 games and lose 5, what would you wouldn't have believed it.
No.
Okay, so when you say how difficult that was to lose to Frankfurt, yeah, obviously you don't want to lose, but I was completely satisfied with where we got. Now, I've been in 11 championships. That was, to me, my 11th championship. And up until that 11th one, I was 5-5. So I know both sides. I can be very analytical. I can be very critical. I can tell you where those games were won and where those games were lost. But it's part of the basketball gods. It's the way it happens. And I didn't see anything negative at all. When we started the season, we were predicted to be 9th place team. We ended up finishing first place with 29 wins. I thought both those teams were very, very competitive. Yeah. Both teams had chances to win, chances to lose. I didn't feel like we fucked up. No. Okay, I never had that feeling. But I also know that there was no way we were prepared to be in the first league after last year. There's no way. Okay, it would have been disastrous. Okay. So keeping the team together and knowing that, hey, if we put the right pieces together, we can easily be a first-place team and go up the following year. That's what my thought was then. Because it's interesting. When you win a championship, as a coach, it's great for a day or two, and then you're going, all right, we got to do this again. You know, it's like, how do you do it? Yeah. So you go right to work. It's special. It's great. I mean, in 2015, I think, we won 57 games, and we had a 26-game winning streak. But we lost in the finals, you know, so I have no regrets. I feel really, really happy that me being here helped bring Trier to the level of that right now. And I think in my role now, I'm basically responsible for the professional side of basketball in Trier. Mm-hmm. I work directly for Akkum. I advise him closely, and my job's been easy because the basketball's been so good. Mm-hmm. Now, we'll see what happens next year. What are we going to do now? So we have a great challenge, and I think it's a great challenge that we'll meet. But I enjoy what I'm doing right now, and I have no regrets.
So what changed? How far do you see us right now? If it would have been disastrous 1 year ago, is it now okay, or where do you stand?
I think right now we're in a completely better position now going into the first league than we were if we would have gone in last year from a full standpoint. So one of the things that we did really well, again, this is collectively between Jacques, Ralph, myself, is we signed our team play. We signed these guys early. Keep the nucleus of that team together as we move forward is outstanding, okay? The addition of Jordan, I think, was a huge boost for us. You know, when a kid like Jordan plays his first game in Nuremberg and drops 30 in his first game, that's a wake-up call to everybody else on our team. Like, whoa, okay. And I thought that was the turning point of our season. And then the development of Holly, the development of other players, Clay, it just snowballed. The 2 players that we've signed now, Jacques has done his research. I have checked out what I could check out as far as what they can do. So I'm very, very positive about them. And I think we're going to be adding 1 or 2 down the road. But to start practice another month with the group that we have, I feel pretty good about it.
Is the NIL thing that's going on in the colleges also a positive factor for us? Because in my opinion, we have maybe a top 10 group of German guys in the first league next season.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Here's the thing, okay? The NIL money, to me, it's a little crazy. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's out there, but here's what I think, and you could see it on a daily basis, which I was at practice every day. These guys really enjoyed coming to work, and they came to work with a great attitude because they're good character guys. There were no assholes on that team. That's unusual. The NIL may have some impact somewhere else, but I don't think with us it does. A guy like Evans, you know, maybe has a chance, but I think he was so happy to be here and be part of the program. I think he respects the fact that guys like Jock and Kevin and Philip, these guys care about him. You can't put a dollar value on that. I feel very comfortable that that's not going to impact us.
Just explain, because a lot of fans and listeners don't know about this new job being now the president of basketball operations. What does the president of basketball operations do?
Okay, he does a lot of things.
Yeah, I guess.
No, it's a big thing in the NBA right now. I oversee the professional side of our team. Mm-hmm. I have nothing to do with the youth. I have nothing to do with the amateurs side. I know how important that is, not only from a standpoint of the community, but you have to meet certain criteria in order to be in the league. And we have a great guy for that, which is Ralph. So when we were at Oldenburg together, after I left, he ended up building one of the best youth teams in Germany with Oldenburg. So Achim bringing Ralph into our program was a great, great move. And as I said before, I have an overview of the coaches, I have an overview of the players, I have an overview of the schedule, and if there's something I see that is radically wrong, then I have to deal with it. But for right now, I don't see any problems. When the season starts, that could create a different kind of environment, but for right now, going into the season, based on what we did last year, I'm extremely confident that we will be a highly competitive team in the BBL.
Because of our team chemistry and because of our mentality, the combination
of everything. A combination of our players are challenge-oriented, okay? They want to succeed. They want to be better. We have experience. We have B. We have Jordan, who's been in the first league. We have Mike, who's been an MVP in Belgrade. So Mike's experience in Belgrade will carry over, and I think even now, as he's going back into the BBL, back into the first league, I think his motivation is going to be even higher.
So where do you see us? And we also have to talk about the cup draw. First game in Tübingen, and also having a home game if we win the first one, a possible home game. So we are a cup type of city. So how do you see these challenges?
First of all, I think it's very positive. I'm glad they opened the cup back up when they did some years ago. I always thought that was crazy. But the cup situation is very, very good. I think the advantage that we will have on other teams will be our team chemistry, the fact that we've been together for 2 years. We know each other very, very well as far as systems and plays. That will be an advantage for us as we start the season. So if we can take advantage of that advantage early in the year, then I think we'll have a chance to be very competitive.
And where do you see our role in general? The goal has to be to get 10 wins, first of all, because that's always been the magical number to stay in the league for the last, 10 or 20 years.
Obviously, you're correct, but as you know from our previous interviews, it's always the next game for me.
Yeah.
I never forecast, play this game, play the next game, play the next game, and then you just keep going through. But obviously, we want to do everything we can to stay in the league and actually to compete at the highest level we can possibly compete at. And a lot goes into that. Injuries, problems, but if we stay healthy and we get off to a good start, I think we have a very bright future.
You just mentioned that you are looking at the whole professionalism of Trier basketball. That's one of your main topics, to have the overview point of view. Not being too close into all the daily stuff, but seeing the whole picture. What will be the things, in your opinion, that still have to improve for the next years to not only play in the first league and also grow in the first league?
That's an entirely another interview. I'm going to answer that question shortly, okay? The best thing about playing in Trier has been, for me, when I coached here years ago, and when I came back 2 years ago, has been the local support, the fan base. The fans have been fantastic, and if they can understand that, hey, we're probably not going to win 29 games or 26 games, but we're going to be fighting, we're going to be competitive, we're going to be enjoyable, and those guys are going to give everything they can to keep that spirit alive that we've brought back 2 years ago.
Don, thanks for your time. I hope you still stay with this passion and also work for Trier basketball for a long time for the next years. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you, Chris.